What's up? It's your boy Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another NBA topic video. And as the title of the video, I'm gonna talk about zone defense and give my opinion on it. I think people overrated it a bit. It's a good defensive tactic. You know, it's a good defensive strategy that teams use. More so today than obviously in the past. You couldn't use it as much. A lot of college teams use zone. Even I played basketball in high school. A lot of the coaches guys that play zone, so I know enough about zone. Um, but my problem with zone itself is not necessarily zone. It's how people overrate it. They'll say, well, perfect case. I believe the 2011 finals, the Heat play the Mavericks, and the Mavericks used sort of like a semi-zone. They double team LeBron, and a lot of people equate to LeBron's poor performance in the finals to saying, well, it was because of the zone. No, it wasn't. I mean, that had something to do with it. They obviously double teamed him when he caught the ball, but it was it was the Heat's offense. The Heat didn't put themselves in the position to score. It was a lot of standing around. LeBron wasn't attacking because there's ways to attack zone. And that's always been my problem with zone in comparison with man. With man, obviously, what has its weaknesses, and if you spread a team out, you put a whole bunch of shooters out there, and you can spread a team out. But with zone, teams that move teams that have players that move well without the ball are going to beat zone more times than not. And teams that move the ball well, 4, 5, 6 passes to get a good shot. You move that zone around. You can get backdoor cuts. As I said, that includes moving out the ball. But there are definitely ways to beat zone more so than there are ways to beat man. Also, the defensive 3 seconds in the key kind of hurts man zone because a zone is created to protect the paint. If you can't stand in the paint for more so than 3 seconds, how can you protect it? I mean, I understand the zone has been quite successful. Um, teams such as the Mavericks who don't have you know who don't have the greatest on-ball defenders use zone as a way to kind of hide some of their deficiencies defensively, such as guys like Dirk, um, some of their point guard, especially after Jason Kidd, struggled with playing man. Chris Kaman when they had him last year. Of course, Tyson Chandler was a really good defensively for them and was a big reason why they won the championship in the first place. Um, For zone, it's when you're outmatched in the inside and you're playing against a poor shooting team, such as the Memphis Grizzlies. I can see the possibility of running zone against a team like that because they struggle with the outside shot. That way you can pit multiple bodies on the likes of Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol to really slow them guys down because those are the guys who are going to get the majority of their team's points. But you know, as I said, yo, people will say zone is the way to, is the end all be all type defensive strategy where you can pretty much run this against anyone. And obviously, my reasoning for bringing this up, Twitter, Facebook, any of these like social media or forums, anything like that, I always heard zone being talked about. People always really don't like. I really don't like getting into debates with talking about old school, new schools, different era. But people will say, well, like zone, okay, you couldn't play zone back then, which is completely false. Yeah, it wasn't legal, but I can link plenty of videos showing that teams such as the Pistons did it. The Celtics have gotten away with it back in the day. The Knicks, the Heat, and then all those teams got away with it. The Pistons really were the ones who started doing that. With things like the Jordan rules, and you could tell where they were, because of the spacing, they were able to double team guys like Jordan. If Jordan was posting up on the block, they were able to put a guy in front of him, have a guy behind him, pretty much essentially double team him. And moving around without the ball then was a little bit more difficult because you can grab and hold people, but that's completely not the point. The point was that zone can be beaten easily with if you got a smart coach, you got smart players, and you got a nice offensive system. You got a nice offensive system around your players. Obviously, you're gonna need some talent, but if you put out the right system, you can force teams out of the zone. If you got great shooters, you can force a team out of the zone. Like I said, the zones are for if the other team has, if the other team is getting beaten up really bad in the paint, who don't really have a team that really doesn't have any no defensive force at the big man position, such as Dwight Howard, Tyson Chandler, Joakim Noah, they don't have something like that, then I understand they play zone. It's a way to protect the paint. But against a great shooting team, against a team that moves well without the ball, a team that's coached well, and a team with the knowledge, the players, veteran players who know how to beat this specific defense, then it's still gonna be tough to stop a team. I say more so, you can periodically switch to zone. You can kind of mix it up with zone. You can do some man. I think that would work more, but sitting there going down the court every time and playing zone, I don't think it's that great. And as I said, people, the reason people say that, is when people throw out the comparisons between, the 80s, 90s, and now, saying that guys back then they play zone, which I obviously said earlier in the video that they do, or they did, which obviously was against the rules, but teams found a way to exploit the rules by doing it. I remember Pat Riley saying something about zone, but he was a guy who, was one of the guys who cheated the rules by actually finding a way to still play a form of zone. That's all I really want to say. I wasn't gonna rant too hard because when I first heard about it, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. When people talk about zone in such high regard. Like I said, it's pretty. It's a pretty sound strategy. When used in spots, but it's not something that should be done throughout the entirety of a game, and should not be your main defensive strategy coming into a game. But let me know, what do you think? What do you think about zone in comparison to man? Do you think teams should mix it up? I don't know. Just my opinion is I think teams should mix zone up, but it's definitely not a strategy you should use all the time. As I said, let me know what you think down in the comment section. Hit the thumbs up button and subscribe.